So, this is my mom's OEM as it gets 1990 Mazda Miata, which I almost think she likes more than her two children. This is factory through and throughout, except for the radio, which is still from the 90s, so I'm going to give it a pass. I am afraid of driving this just because of how much care she takes for it. It's immaculate through and throughout. The paint is perfect. It's been ceramic coated. It comes out on only the perfectest of days. If there's a cloud in the sky, it stays in the garage. Having reviewed so many modified Miatas in the last 2 or 3 months, it's actually really cool to take a step back into what feels like a time capsule with this thing. You cannot find Miatas this clean really anymore unless you're looking on Bring a Trailer and they're pulling 5 digits. So the fact that we have one of these around here on its own, much less that my mom owns it, is really cool. And it's actually cool because today we drove back to back. I drove the K Miata, I drove Dylan's car, and I drove Cam's car, and then I drove this thing. And just the stark difference between all 4 cars really is really cool. The fact that you can take this body style and take it so many different directions, but still, the basic, where it all started is still an awesome chassis to go just drive around in. I've always joked with my mom that if she ever sells this thing, that I got dibs on it. I can't see this going to the wrong person and then somebody hacking up a perfectly clean Miata. Not that I haven't done that before, but if this thing ever changes hands, I would hope that it is into mine, and I almost feel like it deserves to be, put in a hermetically sealed box and just looked at for the next 20 years. It's in that good of condition. So if you're watching this and you are thinking about selling it, please let me know first. She is under the impression that it is going to go to my nephew, who turned 1 2 weeks ago. So he's got a while before that happens, but we're going to do what we can to keep it in good condition until then.
So on today's episode, we drive a time capsule. But in all seriousness, this thing is minty fresh, straight out of 1990. So this is really going to be an experience to see what these cars were like brand new. I've actually driven one before that was bone stock, just like this one. But it's great to have a refresher. Right off the bat, I understand why Miata got the name that it did off the bat. If this is what every Miata was like to drive, and no one ever modified these cars, this thing would be such, I don't want to say a lame car, but I mean, it's a pretty lazy, slow car. I mean, it is what it is. It's got this rolly steering. Whoa, it kind of wanders everywhere. It's so comfortable though. I don't want to drive fast in this. I just want to go and cruise. Nice and slow. Through the Finger Lakes. With the top down. And this guy's taking forever to turn this corner. Let's just gradually get onto the expressway, shall we? Oh yes, the open road. Traffic-free experience. Entering, merging the highway, not a care in the world, not a bump felt, just enjoying the day. In all seriousness, this does, I don't want to say lull you to sleep, but it doesn't ask to be driven hard. The Civic, that Honda Civic that we recently reviewed, that thing was just begging to be driven hard. This isn't. This is just saying, hey, we're out for a drive, the sun is shining, the top's down. How about we go for a little drive, shall we? And you know what? I'm okay with that. So this is what it's like to be retired. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I think if someone wants to judge a Miata as a performance car, I think you need to really drive a modified one, even a slightly modified one, driving this super stock thing, I would never think performance car. I think casual roadster, Sunday cruiser, retirement mobilization. I mean, it's so soft and silky smooth. Did my car ride this smooth at one point? Huh. Interesting. Yes, I'll get passed by most things on the road, but you know what? My blood pressure is nice and low. My stress has been reduced. I don't have a care in the world.
So we have managed to find probably the stockest Miata in the nearby area. And it happens to belong to my mother. It is a 1990, so short nose, 1.6, bone stock. Like, anything I've replaced on this is a factory replacement. Like the clutch is OEM, just like the Exity swap out. The exhaust, it's got a cat, it's got everything. It's painful to me. My mom loves this thing to the point where like I'm afraid to drive it because I know if I do any sort of damage to it or like get fingerprints on it that I'm gonna be in trouble. So we're gonna try and be nice. First thing right off the bat, it's so quiet. So quiet. Wide open throttle. I mean, I'm only going 30, but so quiet. And so comfortable. I mean, stock suspension, like from the 90s stock suspension. Stock seats, steering wheel, everything. Like, everything is OEM. My parents drive this thing all around. They like take 45-minute, 1-hour cruises with it out to Canandaigua for food and then come back. Absolutely love it. She only drives it, like, there's fair weather cars that don't come out if it's raining. This is like, if it's not 75 degrees and perfect out, it does not leave the garage. There's not a scenario where she takes it out on like a, it might rain today kind of day. No, like, this thing only comes out in perfect weather, like today. It's a bluebird day today, not a cloud, not a real cloud in the sky. I'm not even gonna bother getting on this thing on the expressway. I mean, the downside of it being stock is the body roll. Obviously, from the factory, Mazda's not gonna make some crazy race car to try and sell to the masses. But this thing's got some float. It's so good. I mean, any quick adjustment to the wheel, it feels like this thing's kind of, feels like you're on some airbags. Little water balloons, maybe. But this is 65 miles an hour. I don't know if the 1.6 can do much more than that. We've reviewed so many modified Miatas. I mean, multiple turbo cars, Dylan's VVT, my K-Swap, 300 horsepower Miatas, and to take a step back into like where it all started, definitely feels funny. It's cool for sure, and it makes you appreciate both ends of the spectrum, really. The things that we forfeit in our built cars and the things that we sacrifice in the built cars. Comfort being the main one. I mean, this is sick. Oh yeah. Soaks up the bumps. Is it as fast as any of the other cars we reviewed? No. Is it as loud? No. Does it need to be? No. I mean, this is like a summer driver for my parents, and I think it's perfect for them for that. And this is, I think, what the Miata was designed to do. It wasn't built with the intentions of being some crazy race car like some of us have done. It wasn't built with the intentions of making 400 horsepower and being a street missile. It was built to be a simple, comfortable, no extra frills type of street car. And that's what this is. I mean, this thing is sweet. I would definitely, like, my car is it's getting towards the tracky side of things again. There's some things that I intend to fix that will bring it back. But if I went much farther with it, I would probably need something like this just to set my roots back. You know, a fun car to daily drive to work, you know, go get lunch with. And this, I think I've gone, in a sense, a little too far with the K swap. Now that the K isn't reliable and fun and daily drivable, it's just too loud for me. And I will fix that 100%. The turbo will quiet it down, and I might have to add another resonator. I want this kind of, not this quiet, but, you know, some semblance of noise reduction and just comfortable street driving. I am definitely terrified of driving this car. I am more scared of driving this car than any other car we've reviewed. Just because I know that examples like this, I mean, this is an 81,000 mile bone stock Miata. It doesn't exist anymore. You don't get a car that's this clean, this low mileage, without spending $10,000, $12,000, and then, you know, you're spending $12K on a 30-plus-year-old car. Why would you do that? We got this car, my mom bought this car for much less than that. It did have a factory matching hardtop with it. She never wanted to use it, so we sold it. But it's, I mean, this is as OEM fresh as it gets. If I damage this car,
oh yeah, absolutely,
you will no longer have a co-star.
Got it. Your life is in my hands.